Hi guys, we have talked about prompting and how you can get the best response that you want in the fastest and most reliable way. In this video, I'm going to discuss 4 practical techniques that can boost your productivity when you are writing an effective prompt. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome everyone to our channel, AI Fun Fact for All. For those of you who are in this channel, my name is Pedram. I have a PhD in computer science, and this channel will talk about AI and machine learning and how we can use it in order to improve our efficiency. In this video, I'm going to talk about a practical prompting technique that you can use in order to write better prompt. Something that I mostly hear people are struggling when they want to write and back and forth in order to get the response that actually responds in the way that they want. More specifically, I want to discuss 4 different prompting technique that is used by the big tech companies, and they are prompt reversal, 5-minute amplifier, red team, and blueprint scaffolding. In this video, we're gonna go over each of them one by one. Make sure to watch until the end of the video because these 4 techniques give you invaluable insight in order to provide the best response that you can get from LLM. So let's get started. The first one is prompt reversal. The whole process is that you iterate in order to get your final response. You walk through the different steps. For example, you provide something and then after that you say that okay, forget about these parts, make those parts more specific, or add this, or for example make the tone clear, blah blah blah. So there are a few steps that you walk, and then you get to the final response that is something that you can consider as a good response. Then at that moment you're gonna write a reverse engineering prompt. You're gonna say, ask the model to produce one single prompt that would generate the final output in one step. So this is a kind of like a tricky technique in order to make sure that you get the response regardless in one shot. And what you'll do is that if you are working with the APIs, you also want to save the metadata, but if it is just in chat, you just save the prompt. So you want to, if you are in the API mode, you need to also save the model name, temperature, tokens, the example output, so you can use it for later. So this is the exact prompt to do the reverse engineering. Feel free to pause the video to look at it, or more simply, you can just take a look at the link in the description of the video and basically download the full prompt. The whole concept is that you want to have chat mode, and you want to have the final analysis below. You want to write the model suggestion, recommended temperature, blah blah blah. So if you don't have the API and you're just in chat mode, you don't write these parts. And then you want to have a final output to replicate this. Now write the single prompt that will produce it, and what you care about is mostly about the structure, heading, and verbosity. In here is another example. So basically, you're going to say that you are constantly strategic analysis. You say that the tone is professional, clear. The user analyze and interpret business strategy, and output a SWOT with exact structure. And then top heading SWOT and topic, 4 section, strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And then for each section, exactly 3 bullet points, 1 column claim, 1 sentence data block elaboration. Under each section, a strategic response with 1 concrete action tied to the strength bullet points. Output as markdown heading and bullets, and keep simple language, and 400 to 600 words. So then it will try to provide you in a block format, and then you can reuse it more and more in order to get the response for similar prompts. Moving on to the next one, 5-minute amplifier. There are so many cases that you have a very good quality response and you want to generate it for different creator, have a good quality and want to generate it for different platforms, or you are someone that want to report to different stakeholders. So in that case, you need to pick a high quality pillar asset, select a slide deck, dataset, webinar transcript, whatever it is, and then ask the model to produce multiple channel ready assets. So generate, for example, quiz, email, infographic, email, LinkedIn posts, FAQs, and so on. And and always include the source reference and constraints. So specify what is the length alongside that. Okay, this is specific for LinkedIn, or for example infographic. Also mention the length, reference the original peon, and so on. So here is some example. Again, feel free to pause or download it from the description. For example, attach your slide deck, create a 10-question multiple choice that tests the correct concepts from the deck. For each question, mark the correct answer, include one-line rationale. Or if you want for internal recap, create a 3-paragraph internal recap email for the exec, and 2 next step, 2 owners, and 30-word elevator summary. Client infographic copy, exact 5 impactful states headline for each 6 word headlines, 12 to 18 word supporting line, and 1 suggested visualization for kind of like infographic. The third technique is a red teaming technique. We have heard this one when people want to train LLMs or to make sure that it is aligned with the privacy policy. But in here, red teaming is trying to tailor the response in a way that we care about. So what you will do is that you want to role play and try to close the loop to get a better response. Let's say this is the step by step. Let's say you want to generate your response in one specific topic. So you create your content, initial draft, and your assets. You can do your follow-ups on it, or you can just use the reverse engineering one already and give it in one go. And then after that, immediately you will ask the model to flip the script. So what does that mean? That means that you request the model to now act as a critic. But you need to be more specific. What does it mean to be a critic? So you want to also specify the persona. So it has a precise motivation and the constraints. So then it asks it to criticize itself, and this is the whole concept of LLM as a judge. And then finally, you can close the loop and convert the critic into actionable list. For example, use the feedback to identify the specific improvement and generate the improved content. This is something that can fully close the loop just by using the LLM itself. Here's an exact prompt for creating a resume. So tailor my resume. You attach your resume to this job description, highlight 3 achievements, and map to the roles requirement, and produce a 1-page resume draft. So you will generate a response, but then it might be generic, or it might change some of your responses that are not true, or it might like overdo or over look at some of your aspects. So what you will do now, you're gonna say, now act as a hiring manager for this. So you have 60 seconds to scan this resume, list 5 immediate red flags, bulleted for each, and explain why it would lead to rejection. Be ruthless and brief. So you acted to be as a critic, and then say that, okay, what are the red flags? And then after that, you turn it into the fixes. You say, based on this red flag, now try to rewrite the 3 weaknesses to be more specific, qualify, and align for the job description. And number 4, blueprint scaffolding, which is my favorite. That's when you have your plan, you try to prune it before executing, and then you execute for structured output. So what we will do is step by step is that first you want to ask the model to output the blueprint rather than outputting the whole structure. So you request it to just write the content of it, or just the table of the content, or for example just the one-liner of each of the sections, and then after that you will review it. So you prune the blueprint. For example, you can use the 80-20 rule. You want to keep the essentials and replace a metric with single measurable API rather than being verbal, so going off the rail and so on. So then you will ask the model to execute only the approved sections. So some of them you're gonna manually reject, some of them you're gonna update, and then you're gonna generate the response using your prune blueprint. So why is it more helpful? Because before you actually write the whole thing in one shot, which might generate a lot of generic, not good response to yourself, you're first going to take a look at it. Okay, how the structure going to look like, what are the contents, what are the basically sections, and then you can say that, okay, which one are more important, and then try to generate the response. A pro tip in here is that if it is too long and if the structure is too high, don't try to write everything at once. Try to write like 2 sections or 3 sections at a time. So try to write the first 3 and then the next 3 and so on. So here's one example. I ran an online course called Workspace Academy. First, list the standard section of professional Q4 marketing brief and give a 1-sentence purpose for each. Also include suggested success metric for each section. So this one will provide you some generic response, but then you're gonna say, okay, apply 80-20, and then some of them you're gonna manually replace. Now write the full reprieve. As I said, if you want to be more detailed, you can actually ask it to just write the first one and so on. And if you have watched my previous video on the ChatGPT 5, if you want to be more specific, directly ask it to think deeper or think for longer to make sure that you provide the response that you're looking for. And there you have it, guys. We went over 4 practical prompting technique that you can use in order to uplift your prompting and experiencing with the LLM. That is something that is used by big tech companies. The first one was prompt reversal, which basically you try to reverse engineering the process and try to create a prompt from your generated output after a few of the example. The next one was using the 5-minute rehearsal, which basically you have your main content and then you try to generate separate topics based on what you want. And then the next one is red teaming, which basically you try to have your response and then change the persona of the LLM, ask it to act as a critic with a specific criteria, and then try to recognize what are the issue, and then subsequently you can ask the LLM to also update it. And finally, the blueprint scaffolding, which basically try to generate the whole criteria or the skeleton of your response first, and then take a look and make sure that this is aligned with what you want. Try to apply 80-20 and then try to get the response and more detail on the specific topic that you are looking for. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it. More importantly, subscribe to the channel so you see other videos. If you are an LLM fan and curious to know whether the LLM actually think or not, you can watch this video that I go over a paper from Anthropic, or you can watch this video that I talk about 5 practical tips that you can use in order to improve your response from ChatGPT and other language models. Thanks for watching and see you until the next one.